Alright folks, let's dive deep into the history of Yasukuni Shrine, which is a roller coaster ride in itself. So, the shrine was established back in 1869, shortly after the Meiji Restoration, when Japan was undergoing some pretty significant changes. The emperor at the time, Emperor Meiji, wanted to create a special place to honor and commemorate those who lost their lives in service of their country. Thus, Yasukuni Shrine was born. Now, the name Yasukuni translates to peaceful country, which might seem a bit ironic given the controversy surrounding it. But the idea behind it was that those who made the ultimate sacrifice would help bring about a peaceful Japan. Over the years, Yasukuni Shrine has enshrined the spirits of soldiers from various conflicts, starting with the Boshin War in the 1860s all the way through World War II. The process of enshrinement is fascinating as it's deeply rooted in Shinto beliefs. In Shintoism, the spirit, or kami, is believed to reside in the deceased person's soul, and enshrinement at Yasukuni is meant to honor and appease these spirits. But here's where things start to get a bit messy. Yasukuni Shrine doesn't discriminate when it comes to enshrining the souls of the fallen. That means not only soldiers who fought valiantly, but also those who committed some heinous acts during wartime. We are talking about 1,068 convicted war criminals, including 14 Class A war criminals who were responsible for some of the most atrocious acts during World War II. Now, you might be thinking, why would they honor war criminals alongside regular soldiers? And that's a great question. You see, according to Shinto belief, when someone dies, their sins are purified, and their spirit returns to a state of innocence. This means that even war criminals can be considered worthy of enshrinement. The fact that Yasukuni Shrine enshrines these war criminals has obviously sparked a lot of debate and controversy, both within Japan and internationally. But the shrine's history doesn't end there. In fact, Yasukuni has also enshrined other non-combatants, like war nurses and even war animals such as horses and dogs who served and died alongside their human counterparts. So, that's a brief overview of Yasukuni Shrine's fascinating and turbulent history. It's a place that holds immense significance for many Japanese people as it represents their ancestors' sacrifices and the hope for a peaceful nation. But at the same time, it's also a source of controversy and tension, as it honors figures whose actions during wartime caused immense suffering and pain. Now that we've delved into the history of Yasukuni Shrine, let's move on to explore the politics surrounding it and how it has impacted Japan's relationships with its neighbors. Stay tuned, because the story only gets more intriguing from here. As we mentioned earlier, the enshrinement of war criminals at Yasukuni Shrine has been a significant source of controversy, not just within Japan, but also in its relations with neighboring countries. You see, countries like China and South Korea, which suffered greatly under Japanese imperialism during World War II, are understandably not too happy about Japan honoring the very people who committed atrocities against them. Now, let's add another layer to this already complicated situation: visits by Japanese politicians. That's right, over the years, several high-ranking Japanese officials, including prime ministers, have paid visits to Yasukuni Shrine, which has led to even more outrage and protests from countries like China and South Korea. I mean, imagine how you'd feel if someone in power was honoring the people who caused immense pain and suffering to your ancestors. Not a great feeling, right? These political visits to Yasukuni Shrine are often interpreted as Japan's endorsement of its wartime past and reluctance to fully acknowledge and apologize for the war crimes committed. The fact that Japanese politicians continue to make these visits despite the ongoing controversy has only served to exacerbate tensions and strain diplomatic relations with neighboring countries. Now, you might wonder why these politicians visit the shrine despite the controversy. Well, some do it to appease nationalist sentiments within Japan. while others claim it's a personal choice to pay their respects to the fallen soldiers. Either way, these visits are viewed as provocative and insensitive by the countries that suffered at the hands of Japan during World War II. Within Japan, the politics surrounding Yasukuni Shrine are equally complex. The shrine has become a symbol of Japan's struggle to come to terms with its wartime past, and public opinion on the matter is divided. Some view it as a place to honor their ancestors and believe that the controversy surrounding it is being blown out of proportion by other countries. Others argue that honoring war criminals at Yasukuni Shrine only serves to hinder Japan's efforts to reconcile with its past and move forward. Stay with us as we continue our exploration of this controversial shrine, delving into the dark secrets hidden within the infamous Yasukuni Museum and examining the shrine's impact on Japanese society. You don't want to miss what comes next. We're about to enter the halls of the infamous Yasukuni Museum, also known as Yushukan. This place is a whole different level of controversy, as it's here that history gets a makeover, and not in a good way. Located within the grounds of Yasukuni Shrine, the Yasukuni Museum has been the subject of heated debates due to its revisionist portrayal of Japan's wartime past. It presents a version of history that glorifies Japan's military exploits, while conveniently downplaying or even outright denying the atrocities committed during World War II. Talk about selective memory, huh? As you walk through the museum, you'll come across exhibits showcasing Japan's military might, such as weapons, uniforms, and even a steel locomotive from the Thai-Burma Railway. Remember that railway? It was built by thousands of Allied prisoners of war and Asian laborers under horrendous conditions, with many of them losing their lives in the process. But you won't find much mention of that tragedy in the museum. Instead, the focus is on Japan's engineering achievements. Another example is the exhibit dedicated to kamikaze pilots. The museum portrays these pilots as selfless, heroic individuals who willingly sacrifice their lives for their country. While their sacrifice is undeniable, the museum fails to address the darker side of the story, such as the forced nature of these missions and the indoctrination that led young men to believe that crashing their planes into enemy ships was a noble act. The museum's narrative is especially troubling when it comes to the atrocities committed by Japan during World War II. Events like the Nanjing massacre, where tens of thousands of Chinese civilians were brutally killed by Japanese soldiers, are either glossed over or disputed entirely. The issue of comfort women, where women from occupied countries were forced into sexual servitude, is similarly revised or denied. What makes the Yasukuni Museum even more controversial is the fact that it's funded by the Japanese government. That's right, folks, taxpayer money goes into maintaining and promoting a museum that distorts history and refuses to acknowledge the darker chapters of Japan's past. As we've seen, Yasukuni Shrine is deeply intertwined with Japan's history, both the good and the bad. For some Japanese people, the shrine represents an essential part of their national identity, a place to honor their ancestors and remember the sacrifices made for the nation. However, for others, Yasukuni is a constant reminder of Japan's dark history and the atrocities committed during World War II. Debates surrounding the shrine often touch upon some of the most sensitive aspects of Japanese society, such as nationalism, historical memory, and the role of the state in shaping the nation's collective identity. In Japan, there's a fascinating and ongoing debate among scholars, intellectuals, and activists about the role of Yasukuni Shrine in contemporary society. Some argue that the shrine should be depoliticized and transformed into a symbol of peace and reconciliation, where all those who suffered during the war, not just Japanese soldiers, can be honored and remembered. Others believe that Japan needs to confront its past head-on by either removing the war criminals enshrined at Yasukuni or by creating a new memorial that is more inclusive and representative of all the victims of the war. These discussions often lead to a larger question about Japan's responsibility to address its wartime past and foster a culture of peace and understanding both within the country and in its relationships with neighboring nations. In recent years, there have been grassroots movements and initiatives in Japan aimed at promoting a more nuanced understanding of the country's history and fostering dialogue and reconciliation with the victims of its past aggression. These efforts often involve people from different generations and walks of life coming together to learn from each other and work towards a better future. There you have it, the shocking secrets of the controversial Yasukuni Shrine. From honoring war criminals to twisting history, this shrine is a hotbed of debate and diplomatic tension. What do you think? Should Japan continue to honor these controversial figures? Or is it time to turn a new page in history? Let us know in the comments below.